Welcome back, folks. My name's Shane. I hope you're doing well. You were listening to the tones of the Lava Studio Amplifier. That's right, this is a fully integrated amplifier, practice amp, recording tool, digital audio workstation, looper. It pretty much does everything, and it does look like a hybrid between the Mac Studio that I edit my videos on and a tablet, thanks to this beautiful screen at the top. So this is a touch screen. You can just simply change things like this on the fly if you want to adjust any of the amplifiers. It comes with a whole bunch of different amps. If we go into the amplifier option here, you can get a good sense of just how many there are, including acoustic and bass amplifiers. And you can fully customize your signal chain to work for you, which is great. You can save and record presets. So if you're doing any sort of recording, you can get the benefit of having your tone instantly available to you, which is awesome. This is more than just a built-in recording tool. It's also a fully integrated practice tool. There's over 300 different backing tracks here that you can simply just hit play on. It will give you a preview, and then you can hit use and it will tell you the chords as well. I've got the volume down right now, but if you go into here, you can see that when I hit play on this little bluesy idea here in the key of A, it's going to show me the chord I'm on, and then also the chord change that it's going to, and this might help you sort of play through the chords if you're working on that, much like what I'm trying to do lately. So yeah, this is a really cool option. Now there's also the ability to record from here as well and listen back to your performance. So if you are really working on a part, you want to make sure it sounds good, hit record, hit playback, and you're in business. Now, if you don't like any of these backing tracks, you can absolutely stream them from your phone or Bluetooth device directly to this. And if you want, there's also more goodies in here as well. So if we go to the more section, you can see that YouTube is one of the apps available. Now, there's an app center. You can go in here and find more, but if you just want to say, type a backing track in and then jam to it, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to show you how this works. Backing track. And then all the backing tracks will come up. Now, I'm connected over Wi-Fi. There's no Ethernet port on this, so just keep that in mind if you do plan on accessing anything online with this. But if you just want to use it as a practice tool, you've got that ability also. Now, this comes preloaded with a whole bunch of really cool presets that you can find by going into the Sounds tab at the bottom here, and then going into the library. This list that you just saw will most likely be empty if you're starting from scratch. And then you can find some really great starting tones from here. There's tones in here basically for everybody. So whether you play jazz, blues, fusion, rock, metal, whatever, there's a lot of good starting points just within the software. Now, if you don't like any of the presets, it's nice and simple to create your own one. You can just go into new preset here and start from scratch. So if I tap on screen, I can pick any one of these amplifiers, and there's bass amps in here as well, which I really like. But there's plenty of different ones. You can pick a Tone King, for example. It will pair it automatically with the cab, which makes it nice and simple. You can add a reverb effect after that if you want. You can go into the reverbs or scroll through all of them. I'm just going to put the room reverb on for this demonstration. Go into the effect here. We can add a delay. I'll just put this one on because I know it sounds good. We go into this spot here. We can start adding compressors or any other number of effects. If we want to use a chorus, we can throw that in. Turn it on and off just by tapping on it like this, which is great. So that way you can say, get an amp that you really like, run it with an overdrive, for example, like this Tube 808, but have it off from time to time too. So you don't need to keep it on. And if you want to stack another overdrive into it, you can do so as well. You go into here and put the Mighty Horsey on. So yeah, something like that would be how I would like to set this up. If you want to add another effect in here too, you can. So you can fill all the spots. And I'm going to put something like a flanger in there just for kicks, and we'll turn that off. So there's a signal chain ready to go. And if I don't want to have to fiddle around with a million different tones, I can just save this one and then again just turn things on and off nice and simply with my finger on screen. Now with the amp, for example, you can fully customize it just by moving your finger around on the dials. I have found sometimes they just max out to minimum or full. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. There's on-off buttons for things as well. And if, again, you don't like that amplifier, you can, pick something else. And yeah, you've got pretty much limitless amounts of combinations that you can put together on here. So there's definitely tones for everybody. Maybe one of the most unexpected features with this was the mini DAW, or digital audio workstation, which allows you to do multi-track recordings. It also allows you to import a backing track if you've already got a drum track sorted, or you can import a groove into the project. So say, for example, we're doing a rock one. I can find one that I like. Let's have a listen to this. Volume on the front here, playing back from these speakers. I'm going to hit use. We're going to change the tempo slightly, maybe make it a little bit slower. Hit confirm. It will then load it into the project. How cool is this? And then I can record my bass track on a separate track, go to add track here, or guitar tracks, or whatever it is I want to record. This is a really great way of sort of getting ideas into something and listening to it back, jamming over it, all that kind of stuff without the use of a computer, which is pretty cool. Now, while everything that I've shown you so far is free, there is a subscription service for this if you plan on using the AI stem isolation. I think what this allows you to do is to basically import a song, and the AI will basically pull it apart and give you all the tracks in an isolated fashion. So if you've been wanting to learn a particular solo, for example, that's pretty wild. And I won't be showing you that because of the copyright thing on YouTube and all that kind of business. But yeah, it is a paid subscription service, but it's $3.99 monthly or $39.96 annually. And yeah, I think that's not too bad if it's a feature you're going to use. But just remember, everything else I've showed you on here, at least to my knowledge, as of getting this pre-release version of this, is free. So that's really cool. Just double check the website in case anything changes. But I'm looking at it right now and I don't see any other subscription options for this. Before we get into this video, a huge thank you to the guys from Lava for sending this out. This will be a pros and cons review, at least with my experience as a pre-release product. Now, sometimes when you get things ahead of release, there's some bugs. And I've encountered just a few of them with this particular unit, which I'll talk about. But overall, it's been pretty solid. And I'll give you my thoughts about it at the end. If you want to take a look at this, I'll link it below. As I unbox the Lava Studio here, I just wanted to talk about my initial impression. So as soon as I pulled this out of the box, I realized, man, this is a really impressive piece of kit when it came to build quality. Everything from the housing being this beautiful sort of brushed aluminium or aluminum, depending on where you live, of course, to the grill here, and just its simplicity. There's no sharp edges, there's no nothing. I love it. Now we get a beautiful 13.3-inch touchscreen display. It comes with a charger, and it also has a sort of brief little instruction manual to get you started. Now this weighs in at 4.45 kilograms, so it's quite heavy, which means it's not going to accidentally slip off the desk if you're using it right next to your computer. The setup process is relatively painless as well. If you've ever set up a tablet or a new phone, it's basically the same type of thing. The built-in display will articulate all the way from flat against the body of the unit all the way up to almost dead straight. Once you power it on, it will ask you which language you want. After connecting to your Wi-Fi, you'll need to set up an account. Now, I don't love setting up accounts for stuff all of the time, but there was no other way around it, so I did it with this one. There's a few unnecessary steps here, including location, gender, and year of birth. I have no idea why companies want to know this, but yeah, put in whatever you like. Once you finish up with this step here, you're ready to rock and roll. Let me show you how to make your own preset. We're going to go for a big lead tone just for something a little bit different here. So I'm going to go into new preset. I'm going to add the amp. Being that I'm a blues guy, I really like this 65 Fender Twin, so we'll add that. It automatically adds the cab, but if you want to change cabs, you can go into switch here and find any number of different cabs, which is really cool. Now, we're going to add some reverb to this because I always like a little bit of reverb. Go to the reverb tab at the top, select your favorite reverb. I'm going to go with bright reverb, and I'm just going to turn the tone control back a bit so it's not as bright. I'm going to add a little bit of delay here, and I'm just going to pick this analog delay because by default it just sounds great. If we go into the effects chain at the front, I'm going to add a clon into this position. So we go into the drive option, horsey, it's the mighty clon. In this one, we're adding the tube screamer. Actually, I'll just do it this way, tube screamer. And that is generally my signal chain for playing lead. It's one of my signal chains anyway, and this always works great in the context of a live mix, but I can hear a little bit of background buzz because of all the drive. So what we're gonna do is add a noise gate in. Actually, I'll use the smart gate. Yeah, that's great. There's no background noise now. So when I play, we should have a pretty great tone to start with. Here we go. shirt just got stuck in the guitar there. But you get the point. So how easy was that, right? That's knowing what I like inherently with amps, effects, and all that kind of stuff. I was able to get a really great sound without any tweaking. So that's great. Now let's say, for example, you're not a big fan of running pedals into a clean channel, even virtually, then you can get around it by just turning these off and then going into a different amplifier here, which will still give me an absolutely rocking sound. There's so many different ones to choose from. I'm a big fan of this JMP50 over here. I think it sounds really cool. And if we just crank up the drive, it's already at 8, so let's give this a go. Probably just got a little bit too much bottom end for me, especially on that neck pickup, but you can make adjustments to the EQ. By default, these will be flat. I was messing around with this one before, so that's how it sounds, but sort of like the arse just fell out of it. Let's try this. Oh, that sounds a bit better. So yeah, you can just find an amp that works for you, pair it with whatever effects you like, and you're in business. Let's go through some of the clean tones built into this, and this is just the amp with a little bit of reverb. Here we go. Let's try a few of these dirty amps, starting on this Plexi. Here we go. Over to some bass tones. I'm going to be playing my SX bass. It's loaded with like a PJ kind of setup. Here we go. Can't remember how that goes. Something like that. Anyway, for those who know it, know it. Let's have a quick listen to the onboard speakers. Now, I've got a Rode NT2A microphone set up, which is a large diaphragm condenser with an omnidirectional polar pattern. It's got 2 diaphragms in there, so it's picking up more of a room sound. It's about that far back from the speakers to give you a good sense of how it sounds here, sitting right next to it. Here we go. This is my preset that I made earlier. if I want to turn it up, I can. And this will also play the music back through the jam tracks or via Bluetooth, and you can jam along. These actually sound great, and even where it's set up like almost maxed out, there's no sense of distortion or anything like that coming through the speakers. What you will find though, some of the amps may sound a little bit too bass heavy through these speakers, so you can adjust that just by using the bass control on the amp. The Lava Studio has 300 jam tracks built into it, which is crazy. And if you pick any of your presets, it remembers which one you're on. I just had to set the mix, like the output volume of this particular patch, accordingly with the jam tracks. But that's it, nice and simple. And then when I go into the Lava Plus option on screen, I can pick from any number of these, which is really cool. So we're gonna go into this little blues rock one and have a jam. Alright, let's wrap this video up. I'm going to give you my first impressions review here of the Lava Studio Amplifier. Now, this can do so much, and if you're looking for an all-in-one solution for practicing electric guitar, acoustic guitar, or bass, you've got yourself an integrated practice amplifier, but it's also a really great recording tool. Whether you want to go out over USB-C and use this as an audio interface, or use the left and right output on the back, it's got you covered. And I think it feels great to play, and I can hear it through my studio monitors, and it sounds like real amps in the room here, which is fantastic. These onboard speakers sound much better in person than they do on the recording. There's no way to really capture the essence of it other than what I tried in this video. So yeah, they're very good. There's not a lot of low-end distortion or anything like that, but they're just great. So I think you're going to get a kick out of the overall audio quality no matter which way you want to run it. Now when it comes to the touchscreen display, having a 13-inch iPad essentially like this, it's a bit thicker than that, but it's that Android sort of tablet thing. It works really well, but it needs a little bit more finessing when it comes to the touch controls. Like if I touch the bass control here and go to move it up, it moves way further than it should sometimes. If I move it down just a hair, you can see that it went all the way over to the right hand side, which means I need to sort of be really particular about it or touch right at the end of the control to move it around. So if you're a little bit sort of clunky with your gestures, it can just all of a sudden hard pan left or right. But I think that can be tweaked in firmware. I'd rather have no ability to move it left and right unless I was at the end of the control. So that's the first thing that I would love to see changed. But overall, this interface is awesome. Now, I did find myself wanting to switch amplifiers by tapping on the amp here and then switching it, but you have to use the switch button, which is kind of strange. So no matter what I do here, nothing's allowing me to change amps. I have to go into the switch menu. And then occasionally this is glitched out where if I want to click on this one, it doesn't switch. It's doing it right now. So yeah, I'll just have to reboot this and then it will generally work fine. There's also been a couple of incidents where I've been playing and it's just basically rebooted on its own. So yeah, the firmware definitely needs a little bit of work, if I could speak. But overall, when it's functional, which has been the majority of the time, it's been okay. But yeah, there's been some bugs like that where I don't understand why, like if I go into the cab and go to switch, for example, I can't switch to this. You can hear it clicking, right? Like, it's just not letting me do it. So yeah, it's a little bit buggy in that regard, and other times it's just worked flawlessly. But again, it's pre-release, so I'm giving you my honest review here. As a practice tool, this thing is awesome. I love the fact we've got a whole bunch of different backing tracks under the Lava app here, and you can find one that you like and just jam along and force yourself into some uncomfortable situations musically. For me, that's always the best thing for my playing. I just start playing with different feels and different sort of styles, and it really makes me think a little bit more. And as a practice tool, I think this is really awesome. Having the ability to load up YouTube like this, find some backing tracks and jam along or stream from your phone and all that kind of thing is pretty wild. I'd love to know what you think of that. Again, the overall concept here gets a 9.5 out of 10. I just think it needs some work on the firmware, which I'm sure will come out by the time this is actually released because, yeah, I haven't seen too many videos on this, but the ones I have seen haven't touched on the user experience so much. So yeah, I wanted to just share with you how it feels to use and whether or not I've encountered any issues with it as well, because that's what I do here. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you want to take a look at this, I'll link it below. As soon as there's a final firmware, I'll revisit this and shoot a new video with some new opinions on the functionality of the software and all that kind of stuff. But overall, it's great. I love the little power button here, and if you want to just do a quick restart, you can slide this to the left. Thanks for watching.